big trouble. um, moving on. So dissatisfaction with the Joe Biden nomination, or Joe Biden being the last man standing, and the ongoing controversy around allegations around sexual impropriety are really upsetting people, and this is starting to gain so much traction that it's getting mainstream media coverage. Chris Hayes covered it and was targeted on Twitter with the hashtag, fire Chris Hayes, or, go away Chris Hayes, because how dare you bring up this stuff? How dare you bring up this stuff about a woman with an allegation of sexual impropriety against a man? How dare you believe this woman? Coming from the same crowd that was yelling "Believe women" when it was Brett Kavanaugh on the stand. Anyways, this seems to be heating up. And there's a lot, people are very, very angry around this. This is looking like 2016 all over again, but I don't know if it's worse or better or different, but it looks pretty similar to me. A tweet from Brianna Joy Gray: "This was always why Biden wasn't electable. Even before Tara Reid, there were still the 7 other women, Ukraine, NAFTA, the Iraq War, etc. I believe we shouldn't have hit this. Believe we should have hit this harder." Again, a lot of people believe that Joe Biden should have been held to much more account. I believe we should have hit this harder. We tried on Heart to Burn, but it's also true that the media showed no interest. Right. So the media being the lapdog of the establishment, they do not want you, they want to ram Joe Biden down your throats, and they do not want any questioning of Joe Biden, especially from Bernie Sanders or anybody that supports Bernie Sanders. Because how dare you? Going on in the same tweet, they're talking about Trump's moves against Biden. That's Trump's perhaps only winning move to bring the playing field down to his level, to lower Biden's favorability rating, to make him seem less admirable, less likable, less morally upstanding, less superior than Trump. I think this is obviously written from a Democratic leaning entity. He did the same thing against Hillary Clinton in 2016, using the FBI investigation of her email practices while Secretary of State as a cudgel. Or maybe just pointing out that she was under FBI investigation. Last summer, the strategy was to impugn Biden's son, making them both look like corrupt wheeler dealers in Ukraine, which they are corrupt wheeler dealers. So they're trying to make it seem like Trump is creating this story that's trying to bring Biden down, and we don't think, we'll see if it works. The thing is that the story is completely true. Biden, there's a videotape of Biden admitting, bragging about quid pro quo. And, people just don't buy it, except for, of course, the people that believe the media. Remember the graph that I showed you? Democrats, have a lot of faith in the media. So those people are easy to manufacture consent with, right? Democrats totally, eat up whatever it is the media puts in their face. And they're like, oh, yeah, because, I trust the media. So they're easy to manipulate. Democrats are easier to manipulate than Republicans, because Republicans trust the media much less than Democrats. And I'm sorry, it's just a really sad fact, but it's true. I wish it weren't so. That didn't work out, but now Reid's allegations have made it possible for Trump and his party to do what they love most of all, which is to accuse Democrats and the media of smarmy double standards instead. Well, which they're guilty of smarmy double standards. Whether you support Trump or not, I do not support Trump, but it's not hard to go Sounds kind of hypocritical, guys. Of course, this won't work with Democratic voters. It won't work. Well, not the Democratic voters that believe the media, because trust media. But that won't be its aim. The aim will be to ensure maximal turnout and Trump loyalty among Republicans. Because, there's nothing more evil than Republicans turning out for their candidate. And the destruction of Biden's reputation among independents. Oh, there you go. In crucial swing states. The real evil plan is destroying his reputation with independents. The swing voters that are supposed to support Biden because he has such crossover appeal, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, moving on. More bad news for Biden. 19-point enthusiasm gap. Trump supporters jazzed to vote. Biden's meh. They're not very excited about Biden. Nobody's excited about Biden. And lastly, this question has to be asked of Bernie Sanders, and I think this is rightly put. I'm going to ask since no one else will. Bernie Sanders, we all put our support and hard work behind you. As a woman and survivor of sexual assault, I'd like to know why you haven't demanded an investigation on the allegations of rape against Joe Biden by Tara Reade. Allowing women to tell their stories isn't enough. Listening to women isn't enough. A thorough investigation is the only way we can get survivors justice. Joe Biden has a long history of sexual misconduct, and I'm truly disappointed in your endorsement of that predator. Unendorse. And there you go. Bernie Sanders has put himself in a corner, where he has to toe the establishment line. And therefore giving up all of his, moral codes, right? All his moral standing, all his, preaching that we need to do better, or that we need to expect better from politicians, or that we need to expect better from our government, we need to expect better from our leaders, and yet he's endorsing this person and not even bringing up this issue, which he should bring up. It makes Bernie Sanders, not necessarily look corrupt, but he's placating a corrupt entity. He's supporting a corrupt entity. He's endorsing a corrupt entity. And how can you do that and maintain some kind of moral standing? I don't know. Anthony Davis says, I am voting Biden because I do not want another 4 years of Trump. And for that matter, Trump is no saint with women compared to Trump. Biden is a saint. Okay. Well, that's fine. If that's your prerogative. If that's how you feel, that's the way to go. Go with your feelings, or do what you think is the right thing to do. So yeah, although, what I'm seeing is a lot of people are not going to support Biden. I'm seeing that a lot of people, that the worse this gets, the more that comes out. I mean, it's, the silly part of it is like, well, there was already some very, very heinous, things in Biden's past as far as things that he supported, or things that he was against, as in busing, or integration, or, et cetera. Things that he was for, the crime bill, locking record numbers of Black and brown people up in prison. I mean, that's, Joe Biden's legacy. So there's really horrible things in his legacy, horrible, like really ridiculous things he said during debates, on national television, and nobody, all of that was something that you could overlook. And now all of this stuff is coming out, and it's Now it's getting very impossible for people to overlook. Jennifer Elizabeth says not supporting Biden. There you go. The thing is that I don't, I see more and more people every single day, and I see a lot of people, Prud'homme super predators. Indeed, I see a lot of people that are not going to support Biden. They're not going down that road again. They're not going to support the DNC. They, feel like they've been cheated once again, or at least given no option but to vote for somebody who is incredibly despicable, who is preening as the moral superior to Trump, right? And Hillary Clinton did this as well, right? I'm morally superior to Trump. I'm a better person. This is a better party. And there wasn't much of a case to be made. Just saying those words doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. So, what do? We have no leverage right now. We meaning the left, or we meaning common people, or we meaning people who are concerned about climate change, or we meaning people who want Medicare for all, or we meaning, we want, we need actually immediate help in the face of COVID. We have no leverage right now. Even before COVID, we had no leverage. There's no way to influence the machine unless you have a machine big enough to influence the machine. I think that's why so many people put their trust and hope in Bernie Sanders, because, he had big enough name recognition, big enough popularity, and he had a machine behind him that was, many people hoped or thought could possibly challenge the corrupt machine. What we need right now is an anti-machine machine. COVID shows the way that a combined sit out or sit down or stay at home can really influence the economy, the environment, the country. So many people I know are not voting for Joe Biden. If Joe Biden wins, it will be because the election will have the lowest voter turnout ever in history. And I actually think that's going to go against Joe Biden anyways. Or Donald Trump self-immolates, which is a possibility as well. Due to the virus and likely shenanigans surrounding vote by mail and or outright voter suppression, this could be the case. I don't see Biden winning at all on any level. There is no chance. Gene, I'm going to get there. There is no chance. The way that the left and those concerned about climate change can turn this to their favor is to state out loud, I am not voting for Joe Biden, and this is why. This is the reason. This has to be organized. We can't just let Joe Biden lose in resounding fashion without shouting out, we are done with neoliberalism. We are done having no party representation. And most importantly, we are not interested in anybody who isn't putting action on climate change front and center. And again, we're not going to let Joe Biden lose and have the entire media apparatus tell us it was because it was Russians. And I'm going to get into the Russian thing. I don't know if I'll get into it today, but there's more evidence coming out around Russiagate that is going to pretty much destroy the whole narrative around Russiagate. So anyways, yeah, right? So Hillary Clinton lost and it was everybody's fault. It was, Russia's fault. It was Bernie's fault. It was, Jill Stein's fault. We cannot let Joe Biden lose and then have the media blame, other people other than the Democratic Party and Joe Biden for their loss. We have to organize in our dissension. There are other political parties. There most likely will be more created this year, but one way we can flex our collective non-vote muscle is saying that wherever our votes are going, they're specifically not going to Biden and the corrupt DNC. We need an anti-party party, and that is already in the works all over social media, right? So it's it's fairly easy to organize that, at least to know like this is not happening. We are bailing out, but we need to be very, very clear in why we're bailing out. We need to be very clear. You are the problem. The DNC, the Democratic Party, Joe Biden, this apparatus is the problem. And this, we're striking against this problem. It just needs to be focused, concentrated, organized as a block of people who are going to wield power over this election. So here's the deal. You wanted to beat Trump so bad that you were willing to accept the DNC pushing another flawed and surely doomed candidate on us. Well, too bad. We will make sure you lose. Call us selfish children if you wish. Call us all the names in the book. You can't win without us, and we will make sure that your candidate loses until you A, endorse someone who reflects our wishes and addresses the criticality of the issues we are concerned about, and B, accept the dismantling of the machine that keeps your corporate cardboard cutouts in power. See it as a boycott or a general strike if you wish. You might call teachers or auto workers selfish toddlers when they go out on strike. But would you? You would not. You recognize the validity of their complaints and the need for worker solidarity. Well, the media and the duopoly has done a good job shaming you for withholding your vote. It's time to take back power, and you can take it back right now by taking back your vote. We just need to let people know this is why this is happening. Because if you don't do that, then they're not going to understand. You cannot, we're not going to let this happen. Oh, it's just not happening. Sorry. And it's not happening until you acquiesce to our wishes, until you address our concerns. These issues are serious and need immediate attention. The climate crisis is serious and needs immediate attention. Vote strike, Dem boycott, anti-machine, whatever you want to call it. It's time to amass the power that may not keep Trump out of office in the short term, but may change the face of politics sooner than later. So, yes, so maybe Trump wins, maybe Trump gets in office, but if you create a solidarity around the left, if you create the idea in people's minds like, oh, maybe we should take this seriously instead of shaming people or putting them down or calling them selfish, or calling them crybabies for not wanting to go down the incremental road, then you have amassed the power, right? Trump might win, but you have so much power that you're like, well, guess what? In the midterms, we're going to wield this power. In the next election, we're going to wield this power. And if you don't, take it seriously, well, then you're just going to lose again. You're going to keep on losing. This is what's happening all over the country because, we live in one of the only countries in the world that doesn't have socialized medicine. Other countries are giving their citizens, Canada is giving their citizens, $2,000 a month. Spain is giving their citizens UBI until this COVID thing is over. I mean, people are getting help from various countries. But in the U.S., with the worst coronavirus outbreak of any country on the planet, we are getting almost nothing. We're getting a lot of nice promises, a lot of words, a lot of we should, even from our leaders. I think that we can even use this solidarity against or to prod even our progressive leaders to actually do something instead of just talk about it, right? You have these progressive leaders, AOC, Ilhan Omar, whoever, coming out and saying like, we should, we demand, we need, these things for the people, but then they go in and vote, for these stimulus bills anyways. So, why not pressure them? Why not do the thing that Bernie Sanders was threatening to do to other lawmakers, right? Like he was saying, well, if I get into office, I'm going to pressure these other lawmakers to vote for the things that I want. Well, why don't we pressure those lawmakers right now? Look, if you don't vote for our interests, if you don't vote against these giveaways, if you don't vote for a straight benefit bill for the people, right? And leave the corporations out of it. We're going to withhold our votes. We're going to vote you out in the next election is coming up. You're done. You're gone. We can do that. Hey guys, remember to like the video, make sure you're still subscribed, and you can support the channel at the links below, PayPal, Square, Patreon, etc. Thank